Good morning. I woke up this morning feeling a lot of things. And there's this thing that happens to me, maybe it happens to some of you too who are challenged with anxiety or depression, where I wake up in the morning and it's like I'm in a mild panic attack. Like I'm already in that state of depression and fear from the moment I wake up. And then for the next 3 hours, it's like trying to pull myself out of that. And that can be challenging. That is very challenging. But I feel like I'm more aware of it than I've ever been. And I'm more aware of what's happening in my body and my mind and my heart than I've ever been. And this past year has been the most transformative year of my life by leaps and bounds. And I've said that every year for the past 3 years. Now this is the most transformative year of my life. No? 2016, 2017 is certainly the most transformative year so far. And I came to this park this morning. This is the town I first started staying in when I came to the West Coast. And I started coming to this park. I would come to this park and I'd make breakfast all the time. I'd make lunch. I was living in my van. I would meet people, talk to people. And I remember how depressed I was at that time and how fearful I was. I was isolated, I was alone, didn't really have many friends back east where I came from. So, I was just not feeling good about myself. And I've been getting into the work of Dr. Gabor Mate lately. I've been thinking a lot about how trauma has impacted my mindset and my heart and my nervous system. And how he says that all addiction is the source, is originated from trauma. Right? That all addiction is a learned behavior to disconnect from ourselves as a result of traumatic events, most likely in our childhood. And he goes as far as to say that, even someone who develops PTSD, if you have two soldiers going to a war, one experienced severe trauma as a child and the other didn't, the one who's experienced severe trauma is the one who's going to get PTSD. Very interesting work. I highly encourage you to go check out some of those things. Dr. Gabor Mate. Well, this has been a big theme in my musing lately, in my exploration of myself. And it's so interesting to be at this park, because this is the park where a year ago I had no money, I had no friends, and I would literally walk through this park looking for old roaches to pick up off the ground and smoke, because I couldn't be in my body, I couldn't be present, I couldn't be with myself, and I couldn't afford actual green. So I'd go around and find people's old roaches and break them open and smoke them in a bowl. It's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. It's pathetic and it's disgusting. But that's where I was in my life. And I was aware of it at the time. But it was just I was so used to that level of depression. I was so used to that level of disconnection that it was just normal for me to find any way to disconnect that I could. And this past year has been about connection. This past year has been about being forced to see the things that I not really wanting to see. And that's come in many forms. It's come through meditation. I did a Vipassana retreat, which I'm going to do a video about at some point. I met a number of very profound people in my life, 2 women in particular, who really were intense karmic mirrors for me, and just showing me myself and showing me my path. I got into Kundalini, I've got into breath work, I've got into a lot of things that have just forced me to look at myself. And I'm ready to stop disconnecting. I understand now that the only path to healing is through connecting with oneself, through being aware of oneself. I have a good friend of mine and she is a health coach of sorts, and she says that all healing starts by being aware of the sensation in the body without resistance or craving, without desiring it to go away, without judging it, without criticizing it, without being afraid of it. Look at the sensation in your body. All of your emotions are sensations in the body. Sometimes those sensations in the body are the result of thoughts. Sometimes thoughts are the results of those sensations in the body. Sometimes those sensations in the body are just deep neurological patterns from trauma. And I notice those patterns in myself very strongly. There's certain things that set me off, and I didn't notice what the triggers were before, and now I'm starting to see them. I'm starting to see the triggers, I'm starting to see the origins, and I'm starting to commit to myself to connect with myself. For years I've been asking this question: how do we heal? Specifically, I've been trying to look at health from a holistic perspective, trying to get the whole picture, but while doing that, I've been trying to find the bottom. I've been like, okay, there's got to be a bottom layer somewhere. What is the bottom layer? What is the foundation upon which everything else I do for my health builds? And at this moment, I believe it's self-awareness. That might change, but at this moment, the answer seems to be self-awareness. So I'm going to turn the camera off here soon, and I'm going to meditate. I'm going to be sober. I'm going to be with myself, and no matter what I feel in my body, whether it's a pleasant sensation or a god-awful sensation, I'm going to be with it. I'm going to observe it, and maybe even send a little love towards it, right? Send a little love towards those feelings in your body that are displeasing you. All right, much love. Thank you.